Alright guys, welcome back into Brady's Auto Repair. Today we have a 2017 F250 and we've got some new brakes, pads and rotors we're going to be putting on this truck. Let's go ahead and get this thing jacked up, put the stands underneath there, and then we'll pull the wheels off. Alright, we got it jacked up, supported, got all the lug nuts off, and man, dang Ford. And they're crappy lug nuts. I'll go ahead and get this brake caliper off. We have a 16 on the caliper slides, 21s for the bracket bolts. Or move the caliper, then the bracket, and then we'll slide this rotor off. Alright, once you get your bolts out, take your screwdriver, and you can stick in here and pry, and the bracket's loose. And then we have our little cord here. Let's get this caliper hung up and out of the way. Alright, caliper is tied out of the way. As you can see, these pads are super thin. So we'll go ahead and remove this bracket. We got a 21 here, 21 there. I'm gonna go ahead and double check our slides, be sure everything's nice and free. Boots seem to look good on this side. Let's go ahead and get those off. Alright, once you get the bracket out of the way, spray some WD-40 around the mating surface of where the rotor mounts against the four-wheel drive hub. So me a dead blow mallet. Popped the back side of this, spun it around a few times, and it popped right loose. Alright, when you take your old rotor out of the box, be sure to use some brake cleaner and spray it off because they come with a oil coating on these to keep them from rusting. Just spray them off, wipe them off with a clean rag. Now let's disassemble the old brakes off of the calipers and get ready to install the new. So let's knock those out of there. Let's knock this hardware out. I'll take a wire brush and clean up where the new hardware is going to ride. So let's get that cleaned up and then we'll reinstall our hardware. You'll want to set a C-clamp up like so. Old brake pad, C-clamp, and use this to push those pistons back in. If it doesn't want to go very easy, then you have caliper issues. But let's take it nice and slow and work those back in, and then we'll finish up our brake hardware here. Alright, we got our hardware clipped into place, and if you're not sure how this hardware clips in, one side has a little finger that comes out and sticks around, the other side has a small flap, so those are going to go on the inside facing the rotor, and the big clip is going to go on the outside facing away, so you don't have any clearance or rubbing issues there. So let's take some high temp grease, we'll smear some on here, and we'll get ready to install this bracket. The old caliper bolts had some blue Loctite, so we're going to add some blue Loctite to those. Don't forget to put some grease on your contact points of your brake pads. Clip them into the caliper and in the attaching hardware. On the new brake pads, be sure they say inner or outer on them, because I tried to put an outer pad where the inner goes, and the pad was riding out past the mating surface, like out here. So you want to be sure that that's correct and it sits inside like this one here does. Don't forget to remove your slides out of the bracket here, and go ahead and lube them up, wipe them down, clean everything up, and then reinstall. Wipe away the excess grease. Alright, we got the caliper back on, tightened up. You want to be sure your caliper hose isn't in a tangled up mess. We'll get ready to put this wheel on, and then we'll jump to the other side. Alright, we got the passenger side done. Now let's get to the driver. 2 caliper bolts, we'll remove and hang that out of the way. 2 bracket bolts, 21mm, 16 on the caliper itself. We'll get the bracket off, knock the rotor off, clean up our new rotor, slide it on, reinstall all of our hardware, grease our slides, and put it back together. So let's get started. Sometimes you get surprises. Took the caliper off, as soon as we did, this is falling out of the bracket, chewed up the backing plate. There's the old hardware that was still in there. Boys and girls, that ain't good. Oh yeah, that's bad. Look at all the metal shavings on everything. I'd definitely say this side here is bad. Alright, so let's get that bracket off there. We'll knock that rotor off. Alright, we got everything apart. We got the new rotor cleaned and slid back on. We got our pistons pushed in and ready for our new pads. We'll get our caliper bracket cleaned up now. We'll clean the guides up and go ahead and put some new grease and stuff on that stuff. And we will get that reinstalled, get our pads on, put the bracket and stuff, or the caliper back on the bracket, and get this side here done. Alright, bracket's on, hardware is greased, slides are all greased up. We'll grease our endpoints on our pads where they ride in the hardware. Caliper reinstalled back on the bracket. Alright, caliper's back on, everything's tight, everything's good to go. Hose isn't kinked. Didn't leave anything behind. We'll straighten the wheel, throw the wheel on, then we'll go on a test drive.